Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 12th meeting of the Town of Concord Historical Commission. We are conducting this meeting online in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The public may access this call through both telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on topics and discussions following a presentation and questions from the commission. To do so, please raise your hand at the participant function of the Zoom meeting platform. I will call on each commissioner for comments on a topic and then open the meeting for public comment. Once there are no more public comments, I'll ask for a motion from the commission to vote on the application. At this time, I would ask for a roll call from the commission members to make sure we have a quorum. Members of the commission, would you please identify yourself, starting with Nancy Nelson?
Nancy Nelson, present.
Michael?
Michael Capizzi, present.
Melissa?
Melissa Saulfield, present.
Who's Nancy?
You're muted.
Emily?
Uh-oh.
Nancy Priscilla Lee, present.
Doug?
Doug Ellis, present.
And I'm Alan Bogosian. So the meeting's officially called to order. We're going to adjust things a little bit, and we're going to take the second item on the agenda, 406 Old Marlborough Road, and bring that up to the first item for a discussion. And I think they have, is it 3 houses that they want to put in on Old Marlborough Road, or?
Yes, I think it's 3 affordable houses, and they would like to name the road Rothermel Place in tribute to Terry Rothermel. And, you know, I just looked up his obituary quickly today. It said you all would know who he is, but I agree with him. So I guess he passed away in August of 2022. He had settled in Concord in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the Public Works Commission and Housing Authority, served 2 terms as the selectman in the 1980s, and after retirement remained very involved in town politics and advocated for affordable housing and helped to found the Concord Housing Foundation.
Okay, Melissa?
So I urge that we support this nomination. I knew Terry Rothermel. I know his wife Kitsy very, very well. She was a teacher in the Concord Public Schools for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. They're a very well-known couple in town. I actually thought Terry might have been one of the town's most honored citizens, but I may be wrong about that. But he really was a very strong advocate for housing. Public housing, affordable housing. He spoke many times at town meeting with great passion. I think this is a really appropriate suggestion to name this in his honor.
Nancy?
I would just say that I'd like to add that he and Kitsy too were very supportive of the national park the whole time I was there and gave me incredible guidance in navigating this wonderful town. So he's somebody I really admired for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I support this.
And I do a lot of work with Habitat for Humanity, and I think it's a great group.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of this as well. Anyone else? So I guess this
sounds like a very worthy naming.
are they going to cut a new road in? I just have a question. Are they going to put a new road in? Is that what they're going to do?
There's nothing there now.
Okay.
It's right off the rail trail.
Oh,
Well, it's 2 ways in. You know, if you go,
Madison?
no, God, all of a sudden I'm having a senior moment.
Upland?
Upland Road, yes. I think it's
Yeah.
off of Upland Road.
Yeah.
Connects through there. No, Polly, you're saying
I
no.
don't believe so, unless the plans have changed since it went through town meeting. It was a drive coming in off of Old Marlboro between the existing.
Oh, I know what you,
and the new
yeah,
houses.
yeah, so right off of if you come off the rail trail, the rail trail's here, there's a house and then there's a space, and I think that house you're talking about, right, is part of this development. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Either way, so I would like to I propose, can I make a motion?
Absolutely.
I move that the proposed road that will be cut through at 406 Old Marlboro Road for the Assabet Rivers Planned Residential Development be named Rothermel Place.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have to do a roll call? Because we're
Yeah.
Zoom.
Do we have to do a roll call on that?
Yeah.
So Nancy,
Aye.
Alan, aye. Mike? Mike,
Aye.
Hi, Melissa.
I, Nancy.
Aye, Doug.
the ayes have it, Ann.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's that. So the second item is archaeological assessment of parcel 1639.
93.
I'm sorry, 1693. That's my dyslexia coming through. And I wonder if this is Nancy. You were at the meeting last night as well. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to see if it's appropriate to get feedback from you, what you thought over there.
Which meeting?
Nancy Fasella Lee from the,
Yeah, I think I'd rather wait and have you discuss it, and then if I think that anything has been left out, then I speak. I had sent an email just for the rest of you saying that I've now joined the Permanent Memorial Subcommittee, so
Didn't see that.
I wanted to make sure that if I speak, it's appropriate, and if there's a vote, I may have to recuse myself.
Did you send that today?
I didn't send it to the group, I just sent
no,
it to Alan.
just,
Oh, I thought you
Just a
said.
heads up, just to give him a heads up.
yeah, I received it. So Polly, did you want to start or with anything?
Well, I'm not really prepared to,
Okay.
but I think I mean, I believe that the commission is the reason that we're having the conversation about the archaeological assessment.
Right,
And you've seen our questions to all of you about
Right.
that. Nancy and Anne and Melissa, we had a good conversation with Joe and me about this, and sort of the question is really next steps and process and
So,
okay. Do any of the members have anything to say about, because we received the email yesterday with the 4 points on it. Okay. And as I read through these, specifically the third and the fourth point, that the permanent memorial subcommittee doesn't feel that there's no further archaeological steps that should be taken or exploration. And as a committee, it's our job to make sure that we're looking at all historically significant situations and properties and locations in the town of Concord. And that's why we're doing this and being heavily involved with it.
so I had one question about the first and the fourth. The first says that the PMS supports the goal of documenting archaeological artifacts that may remain, and then the last one seemed to say no. So what did that mean? I don't understand where we are then.
well, I think our question is, what are the chances of actually finding things of archaeological relevance there, given how disturbed the site is. And I think that's where we, you know, I think you're the experts and the archaeologist is the expert, and we're not really.
I think the idea was to see if there was anything there, because we're not experts, actually. So I was confused about that.
And nothing's really been put in front of us in terms of what we're actually going to do. Are they going to do test pits or?
Well, I actually, so we have seen there, I've seen, there have been three, I think there are three proposals. One is about $1,000-ish for a certain amount of work. One's for 6,000, one's for 12,000. With as the money goes higher, there are more test pits recommended and different work. I would like a couple things. One, it is the responsibility of the Historical Commission to protect, identify and protect historic resources, archaeology being one of them. The other thing that I have sat in on some of your meetings, as have the two Nancys who were present, and we are told that this is a concept design. So if it's a concept design, maybe we wait until we hear what the ultimate design is before proceeding. I mean, I'm throwing this to a kind of a cocked hat, but if this is not the ultimate final design, suggesting where to do any kind of archaeological investigation may be a little premature. I think I appreciate in point 2 that there was significant work done by the DPW in an area of parcel 1693, but that area, as far as I can understand, is not, for example, in the back end where the my understanding, kind of where the jail might have been, and down where the Thoreau marker is. It's also not in the area, my understanding, where the proposed granite wall is. And again, if all these elements are just concepts, maybe we're not prepared to have any kind of recommendation for an archaeological assessment at all. You know, because, I've attended a number of these meetings. We've talked about you've talked about this plan, but each time I've heard Gary say, but it's a concept plan. As recently as Monday evening at the select board hearing, it came up briefly. Mary Hartman said, I do hope that you will have, I'm paraphrasing, that you're going to have a variety of public meetings to outline this to the public. And he said, this is a concept design.
Nancy?
Which
So
Nancy? Which Nancy?
Nancy
I
Nelson.
have my hand up.
So did I.
I 100% agree with that this has always been presented as a concept plan, and that many changes can be accommodated as thinking goes forward about what the memorial actually will be. Particularly, I feel, since the Committee of Historians and Interpretive People has, I guess it's called a work group, task force has just very recently been created, that that group might come up with some completely different ideas about what should happen there, who should be honored, how they should be honored. And that it seems to me that it would be prudent to first have a final plan after that group has done its work and been publicly reviewed, and whatever else the subcommittee, I hope, intends to share with the public. And I would just say that it's a lot of the very little content is known. I think for sure we know that Ellen Garrison will warrant a column, but there are 5 columns, and it's not yet known who else will be on it. It's not known at all what will be on the 120-foot granite wall. So I think for those reasons, the more I thought about this, the more important I thought it might be to actually have a final plan. And probably can't go to HDC without something that's more tangible than a concept plan. That's what I think.
Nancy, for Lee?
Yeah, I just simply want to say, I do agree with what Melissa and Nancy are saying, so I want to echo that, and I want to say that I also said the same thing yesterday as a member, a new member of the Permanent Memorial Subcommittee. And an important aspect of this is that they're concerned about where the funding is going to come from. And so if that is another good reason why this is premature. I think that the design proposal is going to have to go through a lot more hurdles. And why do an archaeological survey at all before you have a plan in place and know where the earth is going to be disturbed? So yeah, that is the important point that I think I want to make. I think that there is some of their I think Joe Hibbert has done some study of the area, went and looked at maps. He reported that yesterday. So they, like us, have done some, other study of the area, research about the area. And I think there is some justification to what they're saying, that a lot of the ground has been disturbed, but until we know where things are going to go and where earth is going to have to be moved, I agree. I think there's no hurry to decide this. And to, actually hire an archaeological team to do work there.
Okay. So how do we proceed with this, I guess? Nancy?
My hands.
With
Oh,
Lee.
Sorry, I'm trying to take it down.
I thought I saw Michael unmute, and Doug seems to be unmuted too.
Nancy, for Lee?
No, I
Okay.
But I have a question. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It's on the, who has placed this on the agenda this evening? Did it come from the planning department? If we're in the preliminary stage of this, there's a reason it's on the agenda. Is it for us to vote to support a plan to go forward in order to do research, et cetera? Or is it to vote, is this here for a vote or a discussion?
Well, it's more for a discussion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think the permanent sub-memorial committee is coming for clarity, because we are the commission that approached them and asked them to do this work.
Right.
They just want to make sure that we're all on the same page now, and that they know, because they haven't come to our commission until tonight.
Mhm.
And so now we have these questions that they have raised, and I think they
Right.
want answers to those questions.
And do we feel uncomfortable answering those questions at this point?
Well,
I would say yes.
Well, yeah, okay. And
Yeah, because some of the questions entail finances,
right,
which
right,
that's for the commission to discuss, who's responsible for the finances, not the historical commission.
right.
So this is what we're trying to get up on the table.
Mhm.
Nancy?
I have one other question. There are the concept plans that were presented to the public, some of them. And there's one that we saw when we had the rainy day meeting, when the historical commission joined the subcommittee and got rained out. And then a plan was distributed that day that now shows that the it's expanded into 2 parking spaces, and there's a path around that end that goes from the end of the granite wall back around the reforested area back towards the center. And so there's 2 different versions. I'm not sure which one is current, but that clarification would be good to have.
Anne?
Melissa may have something to say.
Melissa?
Well, I just want to point out, Nancy, that was not a meeting with the historical commission. There were a couple people, who participated, but that was not an official meeting with the historical commission and the
Oh,
permanent memorial. No,
There were quite a lot of it. Quite a
Well,
few
there
of us.
were,
I
but it
thought-
was
I thought
not,
it was, but it
that-
wasn't a posted meeting. Oh,
no, that was just us participating, observing. And I wasn't there for the whole thing. So the things that you just mentioned after got rained out, I didn't see. But I
No,
go
right.
back to my original point that we're talking about an archaeological assessment over something that may or may not even happen. So I am encouraging you and the Historical Commission to ask to kind of throw it back and say, at what point will the Permanent Memorial Committee be presenting to the public their plan? As far as I can tell, the last big public presentation was in January.
January.
Library. And so it remains a concept. How can we proceed with a concept?
Right.
And
Exactly.
that would be the question is,
Right.
is there a plan on the docket or is there a plan in the future?
And any plan, as far as I understand, not only needs to be blessed by the HDC, but by the select board itself, because this is a town-owned piece of property that was at some point set aside to host some kind of memorial of whatever design ultimately.
Or another public use
Or, okay,
is the language, I think.
That's correct.
And
Right, so I was just looking at their letter again, and it does seem just like a simple request for justification for an archaeological assessment of the site. So so is that still on the table? Is that something that you think would still be helpful? Sort of just a history of the site, you know, just sort of a, you say that there is no archaeological potential on the site, but would it be helpful to hear from the Historical Commission saying, well, actually there is, and this is why? There is no final design. I don't want to, you know, create difficulties here, but
I'm not sure who you're asking. Sorry, Anne. Are you asking the committee, the subcommittee, or the Historical Commission? I don't know.
that's a good question. It's really to all of you.
I think Polly, it's more the subcommittee than the historical commission. Melissa?
well, I think, I think if I'm going to put words into your mouth, Anne, but I know Anne cares about the integrity of the property and doing proper research. And I think I would concur, if this is what you're saying, Anne, this parcel probably would merit investigation. But I'm also very aware of the fact that there is no money right now to do such work. Which is why I am suggesting, until we have a proper plan from the Permanent Memorial Committee that would suggest this is where things are going to go. This has been approved by the HDC and Select Board and everybody else. At that point, we could say, okay, well, that it maybe it's back in the area where we are thinking the Middlesex Hotel or the jail, or, you know, right now we really don't know what to recommend.
Nancy?
This is a concept plan, so there are no specific details. And I remember when we met with Anne and myself and Polly and Joe Hibbard and Melissa was there also. You know, it came up what was the depth of the excavation for the seating area, for instance. There's no detail to tell us how deep that will be, or how, you know, what are the details for the installation of the wall and the segments of the wall, which now I think we understand is going to be stepped. It's not going to be straight, but they're going to be steps down in the wall. So some of the technical details that might impact the ground, the degree and nature and extent of ground impact, we don't know what those are yet. And a lot of that, I think, you know, your historian and interpretive work group or whatever is it? What are you calling it actually? The historians group Is it a work group, a task force?
It is a work group, and I don't
work group.
actually know what its a formal title is, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I
But
I think it has some meaning or assumed meaning under the open meeting law, perhaps.
in correspondence with Gary, it's been called the Historians Work Group.
Okay.
That's
And-
maybe an
and-
informal title.
Yeah, and some people, and I guess there's some interpretive people on that. I remember somebody that Joe had at one of the early meetings that I think he's brought back into the group, but I'm not sure who else on that. So anyway, sorry, that's all I have.
So I guess we're looking for specifics,
Yeah.
a plan.
and I think that's a completely reasonable thing to be looking for. And I think the sequencing that you've described, if it's okay for me just to pipe up here, it makes sense because it is a concept plan right now. And I think that's why it's been very difficult to have these conversations with the archaeologists to figure out how many test pits and how, this is why we've run into trouble. It's been difficult to anticipate what, oh, sorry, my phone's going off. What would satisfy the historical commission, because maybe the cart has been put before the horse here.
It sounds that way. It does certainly sound that way.
So,
Just because I've been at meetings, I was at yesterday's permanent memorial site meeting and heard that discussion. And now I'm here tonight, and to be sort of the mediator, I did hear some frustration on the part of the permanent memorial subcommittee meeting about our process, but I now rethinking, and I really think that, and I'm just wondering if at the next permanent submemorial committee meeting, the discussion will go, are we in a hurry for this? Can we wait until later in the design, the proposal process and getting it through all these boards? I don't know even what the time frame of that is. I have no idea how close the subcommittee is to even getting to that. I presume that you still have to wait for this working group to make some decisions too, and then the two things will then come together, and then you'll go on, and that could take months, I presume. So yeah, I think understanding the timeline, the time frame, I don't want to confuse it with the timeline in the permanent memorial design. The time frame would be important, and then plan to come back to the historical commission. And then we can have a real discussion about what areas are of concern on that piece of land.
but that's the purpose of tonight, Polly, is to talk about it as a group, as a committee, and then so you know what we're feeling. We're
you.
looking
That sounds
for
good. Thank you.
something tangible to grab onto. That's
So I'm not sure we need a vote
Right.
on this, but
Yeah.
I might.
and do
But
you have?
that's all I have to say
Yeah,
at this point.
Anne's got her hand up.
Right, I just wanted to mention that, I had done that work back in the summer of 2023 at the request of the Permanent Memorial Committee, and, prepared that visual cultural history of the site.
Mhm.
Since then, just recently, I found a Macros form. I was shocked that was there all along. But I'm actually relieved that I didn't know about it that summer, because all of this, I was able to do a lot of new research and really dig into the deeds and everything else. And it seems as if a lot of the information on the Macros form is incorrect. So that just adds another complication, which, maybe the historical commission could be looking into updating the Macros form so that the official record is accurate. And that could actually help inform you all, the Permanent Memorial Committee, on, how you're proceeding. And, the Macros form does say that the jail is on parcel 1693.
Right.
So that would actually be another reason to study the archaeology, you know, which, I mean, one researcher said one thing and I'm finding something different. So archaeology would help verify the truth. And also, I think I just wanted to mention a couple of things that we did bring up at the meeting the other day that haven't really showed up in the letters, but they're very important. That it parcel 1693 is in National Register district, you know, and it's part of obviously the local historic district, and it's close to a documented archaeological site. It's an indigenous archaeological site, number 19 MD 135. And it's known to have been used during the contact period and was most likely a focus of Native American activity into preceding the woodland period. And that's from a report done for the National Park Service.
And that was all documented in what you sent out, the papers that we received, right, Ian? That's what,
No, I had started to draft something, you know, sort of an answer.
yeah,
Well, maybe there can be, maybe I can make a motion to respond and update, working with Anne and Alan to respond to the Permanent Memorial Subcommittee with some of the information that Anne is referencing.
any seconds?
Sure, I'll second that. But Ian Clifford, is that what you'd like us to do this evening? Is that what the planning department, the reason this is placed on the agenda?
I'm not asking you to do
You're not
anything.
asking. So who's asking? Someone's asking.
It's us as a committee,
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
we're asking each other.
right? Us
Okay.
as a committee. That's the whole purpose of this discussion.
Okay, so,
So I made a motion and Michael,
I second it.
and then
We'll take
Melissa, I can tell Melissa had something to say.
I'm not entirely understanding what your motion is, will set in motion. What is the motion to?
Well, I just think there's some issues raised and some information given and you know, it could clarify some things that we know now. And it could maybe reflect our conversation.
So basically what, you know, you're asking Anne and Alan to work on the new information that Anne has uncovered to update the
Just
macro
maybe,
form?
maybe to cite that information.
Does that require a motion?
No, probably not. No, probably not.
I mean,
It's more so we can go to the Memorial Subcommittee and continue this discussion with
yeah,
it.
well, you know, it's just, it would be documenting additional information or putting in writing the additional information that Anne actually, thank you to Anne, has brought this macros form, which she has found through her own additional research to be inadequate and maybe inaccurate. So it would be, I've never done a macros form, so would that mean that we would refile something with the state?
Probably.
And
And saying yes, I would defer to her in any case.
that's one thing. It doesn't quite resolve the reason why the as Michael points out, this being on the agenda. You know, my recommendation for the item is that we table it for now until we actually have
That's
something,
another thing, yeah.
yeah, something to you know, again, I would still personally, I still think it's very important to do archaeological research here. If anything is going to be disturbed, we don't have a budget to actually recommend that, to do this on our own. And I know that's point 4. You ask, you know, well, we don't. The Historical Commission doesn't have a budget, and that's not our responsibility unless we worked to develop a grant proposal to the CPC or something to do that. That would be down the road. But
But I have a question. Isn't it useful to put exactly what you just said in writing to them from us?
Yeah.
without a vote?
Yeah. Yeah,
Have a
yeah,
vote?
probably. So,
That
yeah,
makes
right.
sense?
I mean, they deserve a response.
That's
Yeah.
all, that's all I was getting at.
Yeah, I think Nancy wanted to just move forward and support the process and get the process going. Just clearly, on any relevant site that is going to develop a master plan or a plan, and there are some archaeological, historical, items that should be evaluated and certainly, if they're there, found, et cetera, I mean, it's all part of the process, right?
Well, one of the things we can do is have a working meeting and jot this all down and present it to the subcommittee.
Does that make sense to everybody?
What, you're gonna jot it all down and send it
And
to,
send it, correct,
yeah,
right.
just to sort of make note of what we learned tonight.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I could go for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay with me.
okay,
So we don't need a vote, is that correct?
no,
Great,
this is more discussion
good
purpose
discussion, great.
And tabled.
and table, right.
Right.
So we will work on having a discussion meeting
Yeah.
in the near future.
Okay. All right.
Polly, do you have anything to say or anything extra? Joe? Would you like to say anything?
No, I think we're all set.
Yeah, thank you very
Okay.
much. I mean, this is helpful.
Hopefully it
I
is.
think continuing the dialogue is
Yep.
what's
Yes.
needed.
And we'll be
so
getting back to you,
That's
yes.
great.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, moving on to number 3, historical marker, 167 Hubbard
Right.
Street. And I think Ann,
Right, so I just wanted to make you aware of this. It came in recently. He's asking for the text to be Edward L. Tuttle House, 1886. With everything going on, including all the CPC applications coming, like due tomorrow and coming in tomorrow, I haven't had a chance to fact check the information or look into the history of the house.
So,
I wanted to make you aware of it, and so
oh. So, and because the owner proposed this, I looked for it and couldn't find it in my little magic book. And I couldn't find it on Macris.
right, well, he wrote that the house is listed at 165 Hubbard in most records, and
Oh,
I would exist at as 167. But that's another thing I'd like to check.
okay, so we're not really gonna talk about it?
No, maybe not. I mean, unless someone else has had a chance to look into the research or knows the house or.
and I haven't. I tried looking it, I couldn't find anything on it. So,
Maybe we can table it for next month.
sure. Do we have to do a motion for that or just move it to October meeting?
Sure.
Okay. Why don't we do that? All right. CPC, we talked about this last time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
CPC, modernist structures in town, and I was kind of lost in that discussion.
Good job, right? The write-up is good.
I thought it was
It was a great draft.
Yeah. great. The only thing I would emphasize, you've said it, but maybe I would emphasize even more, that one of the things by doing this, getting this survey, it would give us it would give us direction and priorities, real priorities. You say it, but I guess I would emphasize it because I think with all these properties, that's a lot of structures. Somebody actually asked me today, they said 50 years, boy, that isn't very old. That's not, those houses aren't very important. Well, yeah, they may
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
And this would really, I think it would really benefit the Historical Commission to have
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, very much so.
I can strengthen that part.
That's all.
I-
Otherwise, yeah,
I've heard that comment about mid-century modern houses quite a bit by people who do not value their sometimes minimal construction. So,
Yeah.
but had a tremendous impact on the post-World War II suburbanization in places like California, where it just spread like wildfire
Right.
yeah.
in California. And houses I lived in actually benefited directly from some of the concepts that started here with Corbu and some of these other guys. Anyway, it's great, and it was a great
Beautifully,
draft.
beautifully written.
So tomorrow is the deadline to submit. So
And I love the picture.
Yeah.
Yep, the 13th. Okay. So that's moving ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. And any other business? Do we need to talk at all about the MCI Concord? Or what should we wait to see what?
Well, we could rush down to the
Nice.
townhouse and participate.
What's there to talk about?
the,
Okay.
I
program
want to know.
morning was good.
Oh, sorry.
The program yesterday morning at the coffee morning was really interesting
Yeah, very interesting.
about the history of the MCI.
Yeah, that was,
Very good.
yeah.
You have those recorded, Melissa? No.
These are completely voluntary
Yeah.
and, yeah.
And thank you for doing it.
And
What?
I have a question for Doug.
Yeah.
Did you attend the Lafayette programs and festivities?
did he ever?
Because I was gone and I was so sad to miss it.
I
So
conducted him into the building.
you did not, oh, you were
I
out.
did.
Oh,
I did. It was a good event. I mean, I was kind of corralling the Minutemen, so I had a dozen muskets to keep in line and make
oh,
sure
yeah,
to shoot anybody.
That's
So-
probably important.
Yeah, so we marched in, and I just had to make sure that we were, in safe locations. And then I didn't, we were, Johanna and I were rather warm. So
Oh, it was hot.
we didn't go inside to listen to the speeches, unfortunately, but it was, from the outside, it was a lot of fun.
Do you know if they served ice cream, like French vanilla ice cream? I think we got ice cream from the French, but I think the French got it from the Italians.
Yeah, I heard there were French themed cocktails.
Oh,
No,
Doug,
they-
did you only do Concord, or did you start in Lexington, or did you go to any other towns?
I did Boston, but as a Marine.
Okay.
oh, wow.
Oh,
What fun. But it
Yeah.
was
Doug does-
hot. Sounds
Doug
like
does some really interesting stuff.
Yeah. So we met with the Ancient and Honorable at the Commandant's house at the Navy Yard.
Oh, with
Oh, nice.
Mr. Milano? Did you see Joe?
No. No, I don't recognize that name. John Mitchell is kind of the contact that we deal with, and Fish, I believe is guy's last name, who's who's in charge of the Ancient and Honorable.
Yeah.
Then over to Faneuil Hall, and we did the parade over to the Common. And from that point, all semblance of Kenny organization just disappeared. Because I had there was no agenda. There were speeches. I thought the speeches were supposed to be over. It was an hour late. The Navy guys just left. So yeah, and it was
Oh,
hot.
wow.
It was like 94 degrees, and
Oh, gosh.
yeah,
Whoa.
it was rather uncomfortable in the uniform.
Yeah, I bet.
I bet it was a great day. Wow.
There's a cute puppy in the background.
Yeah, that
Yes.
Lulu, she's
That's
being very
Lulu.
good.
Is it a puppy?
Yes, she is.
Okay, sorry. I even brought it up.
Oh, no. She's the newest puppy here at Concord Green. She's beloved.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah, but she had a really good time at over at Cousins Field this evening.
oh.
I think we're a little off topic there, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, yep. I'm just waiting until
I,
you,
I have something I'd like to ask.
wait until you
Public
just
record.
calm down a little. Go ahead, Nancy.
I'm wondering, if we can have a discussion about the possibility of meeting in person rather than on Zoom.
Well, it's funny you say that because as I sat down here tonight, I said, we really need to get back to getting in person. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'd be all in favor of that.
Me too.
So we can even try it for, the next meeting, but let's hear what you all have to say about it.
I'm in favor of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why don't we push for next October to get in person? And we'll do that.
Good.
Meetings go better with chocolate and maybe other things.
Well, excuse, what?
Yeah,
All
that's a good idea. So yeah, consider it done.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah.
Any other business? Okay, then I guess we will adjourn. I don't need a motion to adjourn, so. As the chair, I adjourn the meeting. Nancy, Ann?
There was a little bit of other business. There's that letter that arrived about a section 106 review of a cell tower in,
Oh,
Oh,
Right.
Well, I, for one, I can never get any reception in my house, and I'm in that circle. So
yeah,
You
yeah.
need to switch to
desperate. I'm
T-Mobile.
sorry, desperate. I am
It's so
cut
important.
off every phone call.
and every time I see my cardiologist at Emerson, he complains about it. So,
Oh, dear. Yep.
I switched to T-Mobile 3 years ago and haven't looked back. It's been awesome. Lower price, better service. What a combo.
Oh, no kidding. I have
Well,
to
so
look
does, do you need, is it a motion required for the,
Right. This
Mhm.
just arrived yesterday. It doesn't have a lot of information similar to the one that arrived from
Mhm.
Icon that didn't have a lot of information.
Yeah.
This one does ask, whether you would like to be, whether you're interested in commenting on the proposed project. And then if you are, I would guess you would need to have more information.
yes,
Yes.
I think we would be interested. Sure.
Yes. Yes.
Good practice.
I mean, they might be surprised we could add a lot of enthusiasm for this,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
I
Did they
mean, if it's
specify
like
a
the last
location?
one.
Did they specify the location?
It's at the transfer station, isn't it, or the dump?
Oh, yeah.
No, this is one that
Oh.
already exists and they're augmenting it.
No,
I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's Little Monument Square, which I think is is it the Catholic Church?
Oh,
Okay.
Not the Tricon Church, that they changed churches.
Oh, Tricon is next to the post office.
Right, this one is
And
the
it's
one,
already got one.
this is on Monument Square.
so I think we need to be involved in this one.
Yeah.
I don't think Tricon has one now.
No, they
No,
don't.
this is one we were looking at before and then they just dropped it.
That
They
has
didn't
been,
do it.
there's been a negotiation for quite a while.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
Anyway, yes, we need to be.
Right.
involved. I
Yep.
agree.
I'll get back to them. And then I did post, at the last minute, I was able to get through a few sets of minutes today, but you probably haven't had a chance to look at them.
I did.
Few sets of-
Which minutes were those for?
August 15th,
Oh,
and then 2 from March. I can have probably another couple for the next meeting.
okay.
Be good if we really had it an advance warning and really make a push to catch up.
Yeah.
But with some advance warning so that we can, look through them.
Yeah.
Well, when we have a in-person meeting, we can discuss this 5 minutes before it all starts. And
So
read them.
I'm curious if we have in-person meetings, what happens to the poor dogs?
Oh, bring them,
They can-
All those,
Bring 'em, yeah.
all those poor dogs, what are they gonna do?
especially the puppy.
We bring-
Daphne and Lulu get along very well.
Hey,
Be afraid of what you ask for.
I'll see.
Was that it, Dan? Okay. Any other comments or
Nope.
insights?
All set.
Okay, then, as the chairman, I adjourn the meeting of the Historical Commission
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
on September
Thank you.
12th.